Have you ever looked in the mirror and thought, how can I be doing everything right and still feel like I'm failing? You're spinning all the plates. You're feeling like you're dropping all the balls: career, family, health, the freaking dog, the house. But when it comes to your body, it's like nothing sticks. The workouts, all the counting and the tracking and the macros, the willpower, all of the effort, and still the weight, the stress, the self-doubt remains. Ugh. Now imagine finally having, like, seriously, you guys, actually imagine, picture this for just a second. I want you to go there with me. Imagine finally having a way of living that actually works, a way where you can weigh what you want and have the life that you want. And again, not just on the scale, but in your brain, in your schedule, and in your soul, as cheesy as that sounds. You're listening to the Lose Weight for the Last Time podcast, where we don't just talk about weight loss, we talk about losing the mental load that comes with it. I'm Laura Conley, your life and weight loss coach. So today on the show, we're asking what happens when you stop trying to do it all right and finally start doing it differently. To help us answer that, we are joined by one of the incredible Yum Mom alums, Kama. She's a full-time financial advisor, a wife, a mom of two, and until recently, a woman who felt like she was stuck in a cycle of almost there and then back again with her weight. I bet you can relate. That was so me too. In this episode, you'll hear how Kama went from stress eating through her 60-hour work weeks to becoming the calmest, kindest version of herself, even in the face of pizza parties, plateaus, and summer chaos. We're talking about the emotional freedom that comes from finally loving the woman in the mirror. I know it sounds too good to be true, you guys. The difference between hard work and heavy work and how to choose lightness, and how journaling, yes, even if you hate journaling, might just be your new secret weapon. And there's one story Kama shares about a number on a scale, a husband's comment, and a radical self-love response that might just flip your entire perspective on weight loss. So if you're ready to drop the weight and the weight of never enoughness, then stick around for this episode of Lose Weight for the Last Time. Okay, welcome to the podcast, Kama. I'm so thrilled that you are here. You're such a freaking breath of fresh air and pure sunshine. So thank you for being here, you guys. We have one of the yummiest mummies ever, Kama. Introduce yourself to us, Kama, and tell us a little bit about what it was like before you had found the Yummy Mummy method, before you came into the Yummy Mummy experience. Just give us a little scoop
Yeah,
of who you are and what it was like.
absolutely. Thanks for having me. I'm very, very happy to be here and happy to be part of the podcast and be part of the Yummy Mummy experience. So, before Yummy Mummy, I was as busy as I am today. Super busy, two young kids. I've been married for 15 years. I run a practice in financial services and I was swamped busy. But I also was stressed out constantly.
Oh,
Um, so very overwhelmed before Yummy Mummy. Yeah. I felt like I was doing everything that I was supposed to be doing and it wasn't working when it came to my body. I was an athlete as a child, and so I just thought that exercise was the answer. So I was waking up, I still do, but I was waking up every morning and walking. I was working out on my lunch break and I was counting macros and I was tracking exactly what I was eating and I would lose 10 pounds, but then let up. And I would be on a challenge and then let up. So it was a very much pull and push in terms of how badly I spoke to myself. So I would just wake up and be like, I am doing everything right. But then I couldn't keep all these plates spinning. And it just felt like no matter where I turned around, I was failing because it would work for just a little bit and I'd get 10 pounds knocked off and that challenge was over and I just wasn't consistent.
Mhm. Oh, it's
So,
so frustrating.
yeah,
Well, nobody teaches us like what real consistency is and like how to actually be consistent, especially when we're so busy and doing all of the things with all of the plates and all of the balls in the air, spinning
absolutely.
and flying every which way. Okay. So tell us a little bit about your journey. You said before we hit record that you were a podcast listener and then eventually, obviously, became a Yummy Mummy experiencer. So tell us
Yes.
like a little bit about that and like what made you kind of convert from a podcast listener to like a
Yes.
diehard client. No, just kidding. I don't know if you're a diehard.
Yeah, I am a hook, line, and sinker. I am here. So it was very vivid. I had gone into my yearly doctor's appointment with my OBGYN, and she is one of my best friends. And I got on the scale and it said I weighed 182 pounds. And when I gave birth to both of my kids, I was in mid 180 at 9 months pregnant. And I just thought, I know the scales are funny at the doctor's office, but once I tipped over to one of the highest weight I had been, even when I had kids, it
Yeah.
really just hit me that it was time that I took a different approach.
Yes.
And so I
Okay.
talked to my doctor, and she gave me a book
Mm,
about how to lose weight for the last time. And it was actually written by one of your friends,
yes.
who had a weight loss program for doctors that my friend had joined. And my friend said, but you should listen to the Yummy Mummy podcast because it's the same concept and you will love it.
Oh my God. I
And
love it.
so I started listening to your podcast religiously while I was walking.
Mm,
I felt like it was different than any other thing that I had tried.
mm.
And I have tried it all. I mean, in college, I was doing Slim Fast. The most recent one was counting my macros and writing down absolutely everything that I was eating. And the way you spoke about weight loss was just different. And then I tried to do it on my own. And I just realized just by listening to the podcast that it was such a community. And
Mm,
that part of it is what really sold me. And it
mm.
was, I signed up for a consultation, a conversation with you. And I think I signed up that evening and got going. So,
Oh, I love that. Go to lauraconley.com/lose. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, I'm actually kind of not kidding, but that wasn't planned. Yeah, if you want to hop
yeah.
on a call, because you know you want to take it from being a podcast listener to an experiencer, because there is a difference. I mean, I do. I give every single thing away that I teach inside on the podcast. It's not, in a super organized fashion. You're not getting the journal or the workbook or anything like that, but everything is out there. Like all of my concepts, the whole methodology is out there for free. It is the coaching and the accountability and the community that like puts a nail in coffin in it for real. So I love that you're talking about that because I do think a lot of people think that they could do it on their own and they might be able to do it on their own. I do get like podcast listeners that tell me that they've lost some weight, but I really think that is what brings it fully home.
I couldn't agree more. I think that the 6 months is the perfect timing because I think as we went coaching through the 6 months, it brought up things that I was like, I'm at a plateau. And then within a month, we were talking about plateaus on the call, and you were helping us work through that and understand how the scale works.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's so important. I also think the accountability. So I love accountability. I'm the type of person that if I say a goal out loud, I will do it.
Yeah.
But
Me
in
too.
my weight loss journey, it's so hard to say a goal out loud. Who are you saying it to?
Oh, that's so good.
And I think that our community of women, that we have some things in common, even though it might not feel like it at the beginning. That is the
Yeah.
accountability that I need.
Yeah.
That is the excitement that I need, the cheerleaders that I need. So when I'm down 2 pounds after being at a plateau, they're there cheering you on.
Yeah.
It's so
It's so good.
important.
It's so important. I saw a stat recently that was like you're 95% more likely to hit a goal if you have accountability that you've paid for. So
Yeah.
it's just like, I should probably find out where that stat came from. But anyways, okay. So you told us a little bit about your before. Tell us a little bit about your after, like, or your now? Like, what is
Yeah.
it like now having gone through the experience?
So I am a couple months outside of the 6 month experience. I started at that 182 mark and I got down to my goal weight that I had originally told you of 150, maybe a week after the session had ended. I had to tell it in the master's program that this is the goal that I hit. So it was about 1 or 2 weeks after that, I hit my goal weight of 150. I've readjusted and working on maybe 145, but so comfortable
Oh,
in that weight. But it's so much more than that. I have a very clear mind in the
mm,
way I'm talking to myself. So, as busy as I still am, very busy at work, very busy with the kids, very busy at home, my mind isn't cluttered with I'm not enough or
mm,
my weight's too much or you are a terrible person because you ate that slice of pizza at the pizza
yeah.
party. There is just not there anymore. I journal twice a day. I'm very consistent in the journaling and I'm very positive in my journaling too, because I know
Mm,
how hard I'm working and I know
mm,
the progress that I'm making. So we talk about our future selves and how you live in your future self. And
mm.
it's a work in progress always. And I really love that you have not sugarcoated this whole process. It is different, but you've said at the very beginning, this is a lifelong process.
Yeah.
And I just remember when we first started meeting, well, I don't know that I can do that forever. Um,
Yeah.
but I don't know how I cannot do it
Mm,
forever. It creates a very calming space in my head. I'm a much
mm.
kinder wife. I'm a much kinder mother. I am able to journal so much more about how I'm feeling overwhelmed, which helps me react differently because I have so
Mm,
many more tools in my tool belt and how life's supposed
mm.
to go.
Oh my God, I love hearing that. It's so interesting. You're like, I don't know how I cannot do this forever. And it's so funny because a lot of people will say in like the under restriction camp, like, you only live once, like YOLO, you should be able to eat all the things whenever you want, however you want. I mean, I had to mourn the loss of like, okay, Laura, like you can't eat whatever you want, whenever you want, and weigh what you want. And so I agreed to that and gave it up. And now, I weigh what I want. And ironically, I actually do eat the way that I want. Like I don't want to go back to the old ways. Right. And
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, you only live once. And so therefore, I want to eat in a way that is so supportive in the moment and outside of the moment. Like later on
Yeah.
that day, like I don't want to feel like the sugar hangover. I don't want to deal with like chronic lifestyle diseases. Like, I
Yes.
don't want to fight with my closet every morning. You know what I mean? So it's like, what
100%.
do you mean YOLO? Like, this is the YOLO way.
I used to always say that I invented the word hangry.
Oh,
Like that word was meant for me. Like you watch out if I haven't had food.
yeah.
I am mean, you better get me something to eat. And that was like part of me. And
Yes.
now I haven't been hangry
Yes.
for 6 months.
Oh my gosh.
Food is not the most important thing that is consuming my thoughts. I'm not worried about when I'm going to eat. I had an appointment today during my normal time I eat breakfast, which is around 10 o'clock. And my appointment went to 11. I wasn't hangry. I wasn't
Yeah.
even hungry. I
Yeah.
just knew I had to wait and eat when I was done with that appointment. And it was better than okay.
Yeah.
It was fine. It was a non-issue.
Yeah, I totally agree with the same thing happened to me because I had like meetings until like 1:30 and I was like, "Oh, have I eaten? No, I have not eaten. I need to eat," right? Because
Mhm.
what happens is you guys you become fat adapted. So it's basically the the opposite of hunger. Your body is able to use the fat on your body without a temper tantrum, which is just a really nice way to live. My husband and I like used to joke. Well, we weren't joking at the time, but now we joke like, how many nothing fights did I cause because I was like hangry and like defensive and irrational? Like a lot, a lot of nothing
For
fights.
sure. And I actually think you teach us so much more than how to eat well. It's actually how to manage your emotions. Because I think about how many fights I had in general with my
Mm,
kid, with my husband, just being
yeah.
stressed out. And the way I can learn to just be calm about the situation and know my feelings at the moment and take a pause
Mm.
before I step into anything and understand does it make sense to step into anything? And most of the time it doesn't. Most of the time it doesn't make sense to step into anything. And that has really made a much calmer Kama and mom.
Yeah, and a whole family system, really, right? Because
Yeah.
it's like, I know people, because we're always asking as moms, I feel like, oh my God, what should I do? What do I got to do something. What can I do? And it's like, we don't have to do anything 90% of the time. It's like, it's so relieving, actually.
Yes.
So you mentioned journaling. I love how dedicated you are to your journaling practice. Did you feel like, oh my God, when you first came in, were you apprehensive about the journaling? Were you like excited about it? Like, can you just tell us about your experience with journaling? Because I think a lot of people are like, ew, I'm not a journaler. Like, no way. I had
Yeah.
somebody be like, no, I can't join your program because of that. And I'm like, okay, well, you can like, you can call yourself like a writer downer. Cause she's like, I do not identify with that. I'm just not going to do that. I'm like, okay.
Well, if you had interviewed me before I set the pre-appointment, I would have told you I would never give up white flour. My husband is gluten intolerant, and I always said, that's your thing. I can have it. To give up added sugar, I never would have thought to do that. And to journal, I would have
Yeah.
told you I have no time. I have so
Mm.
much going on. To sit and journal about my feelings sounds absolutely ridiculous. And I would say that I'm pretty black and white, and I don't show my emotions on my sleeve most of the time. So that I have the exact same thought, but I also trust a process.
Mm.
So I listened to your podcast enough to know that there were real moms using this and living it and believing it and trusting it. So
Mm.
to spend that amount of money and sign up, I knew I had to trust the process completely. So I was bought in and I tried it. I will say I was not the best journaler at the beginning. I would say that I had one word or two words. I would not know what to put. I would say how many times, like, I wouldn't know, but I just kept doing it.
Oh,
And then
that's
I
amazing.
realized at first I was a little nervous to post it in our community, but I kept thinking, well, I'm not reading everybody else's, but the cheerleaders are reading them and some people are reading them and they're so sweet to you and they're so
Yeah.
kind and they know you. And I think it's just such a great tool that now I look forward to my mornings of
Yeah.
journaling and my evenings of journaling. And it does not take that much time, but it gets everything off of my mind and my heart in a way that
Mhm.
I feel complete each day.
Yeah, it ends up saving time because then you
Yeah.
don't have a big mess to clean up because you've like overeaten or picked a fight or or whatever,
Yeah.
you know? It's so good. Okay, you mentioned too, you said just kind of in passing, you were like, I'm working hard. I'm proud of myself. I'm journaling every day. Can you tell us about what you mean when you say working hard? Because I think some people interpret like, okay, this is going to be, this is another thing I'm adding to my plate. I
Yeah.
totally agree. I think you and all the yummy mummies are working hard. But do you feel like it's hard? I want to like kind of decipher between the two because yes, we're working hard and intentionally, but does it feel really like painful and like a struggle?
Yeah. I would say that that is quite the opposite. So I am working hard because it's important to me and I know who I want to be,
Mm.
but it's not hard to do the work. I want to be consistent and I want to make sure I'm not beating myself up if I make a mistake. So I want to really make sure that I hone in on that, looking back with love and really understanding maybe what happened if I did overeat or I did something like that. But the working hard is just making sure that I keep me in the
Yeah.
forefront of what I'm doing.
Oh,
It's me.
yeah.
I want to make sure more often than not, it says, why are you doing this in a journal entry? And I'm doing it to show my kids that this is what healthy looks like. This is
Oh,
what good behaviors look like. And this is how much energy and how fun life can be in
mm,
this environment. And that's
oh.
okay. I've gotten my kids journaling books. So sometimes we journal together in the evening. It's not consistent like me, but they love it. It's just like our journals. They see me, they wanna do it too. And I think it's so good. And it's so
Yeah.
good to talk about their feelings each day. So it's
Mhm.
hard work, but it's not hard work
Yeah.
in the same way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so well said because I think once you get into the habit of it, it's easy. And like you said, it's like you're looking forward to it, right? Like, so I don't know. I think it's really good to talk about. Okay. Let me see what other question I want to ask you. You mentioned a couple times you're like, it's different. It's different. Why do you think the yummy mummy experience, the yummy mummy method is different?
Yeah, I'm so excited. I'm so glad you asked that question. That's a really good question. So, I think the main difference is we have learned the why behind why we are eating.
Hmm.
So, I have been a part of counting macros in food in a gym that I think is an amazing gym I'm still a part of. And I still understand the process of protein
Yeah.
is good. So
Yeah.
it's not that that part of it is bad, but the idea that here is exactly what you have to eat, what that did to me, it triggered me as a former child athlete, not a very good one, but I played sports where I could eat whatever I wanted.
Yeah.
Um, I ate constantly. Food intake was always on my brain. What am I going to
Mm.
eat next? What is going to happen next? Is it enough macros? Let's put it into my fitness app. Let's try to make sure
No.
it looks right. And I just was constantly food intake was on the brain. Where what's different is I could be sitting in my house in an evening and the kids are all getting out ice cream and cookies at 7:30 at night. And I can ask myself internally, am I hungry? Do I need it? Will it make myself feel better? Probably not.
Mm.
And I can sit and talk to them and enjoy the moment,
Mm.
enjoy the moment. And that moment hasn't, they don't care whether I'm intaking or not, but that moment is still there. And I learned through the program how to emotionally decide if I need something or not. And I
Mm.
don't think you've ever learned that any other place.
Yeah. Oh, that's so well said. I love that. Yes. Any other program that's out there, at least the ones that I know of, and I don't really know of them anymore because I've just been hanging out over here for like 7 or 8 years. But I used to know all of them like the back of my hand, and they're just not teaching like the why behind it. Like you said, that was so well
Well,
articulated.
and I even think that I learned about intermittent fasting before I learned about your program, but the way it was explained to me
Mm.
was, here's the hours that you can eat whatever you want."
Good luck with that.
You actually probably can't do that. But I did incorporate intermittent fasting into my plan towards the end of
Mm.
my 6 months when the weight kind of slowed down and had plateaus. And I still kind of use it for the most part 90% of the time. And it's helped me, but it hasn't changed what I ate. I don't eat whatever I want. I'm still
Yeah.
on my protocol. And the
Yeah.
protocol was amazing. You told me it was a scientific method. And I have used that so often to myself when something's not
Yes.
working. Like, don't, it's, don't give up.
Yeah. Don't become like a drama queen. Like
Right.
stay a scientist. Like
Yeah.
if you can test and retest and be curious without getting into the big spiral of emotion, like you can solve any problem. I use it in business all the time, like test and retest, or with my
Yes.
parenting, or like what worked, what didn't, what do I want to do differently next time? It's like
Yeah.
for some reason with food and body and weight, it's like we make it mean so much about like our value and our worth. And it's like, no, this is just an experiment and we're totally going to figure it out if we just keep going.
I think it's interesting because so many nuggets that I've taken from the course plays into all aspects of
Mm.
life. Like you said, being the scientist through all aspects of life is so important. Life is 50-50. I
Mm.
use that so often and to my kids. Life is 50-50, but I also think it's a journey, and I think
Mm.
it's okay to test and retest. It
Mm.
wasn't meant the 6 months wasn't, "Then I'm done and I can go back to
Exactly.
life," and that has been really hard for me because I am very much type A, and I want everything to have a timeline, and I wanna go fast, and I wanna go hard, and I wanna get this done, and then towards the end of the 6 months, it really helped me say, it's for the rest of my life.
Hmm.
6 months is just a blip.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So true. You were talking about how this has rippled into other areas of your life, and you gave us a few examples, but say more about that. Like, how has this impacted other areas of your life?
I used to be so stressed out and upset with how I looked. I was not happy at all at the way clothes fit. I didn't think I looked professional, which is such BS to say, but I'm saying it in a very safe space.
Yes.
Um, but I just didn't feel like myself. Like I could look in the
Mm,
mirror and say, this is not you.
yeah.
And when you have that mentality constantly,
Ugh.
every day when you're looking in the mirror to walk out the door, the moment that your husband asks you a question, you're immediately recoiled into just a mean person.
Yeah.
And I think I was just more snippy,
Yeah. Yeah.
more insecure about
Mm,
who I was, trying to be everything to everyone. And I was just wound so tight. So it just took the kids not turning their clothes inside out
yeah.
for the laundry for me to just fly off the handle. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying that I don't fly off the handle still, but it's much less
Yeah.
because the question is it super important or is it just let them?
Yeah.
Let
Yeah.
them figure it out.
Who cares?
I think bigger picture now. So
Oh, yeah.
it's not so much the kids' laundry situation. Before I jumped on this call, I was putting together how they do laundry because they're 9 and 11 and summer is coming next week and they are going to do their own laundry from start to finish while I am at work. And that's going to take care of it. I won't have to worry about any part of that laundry. They will do it.
Yes.
But I wouldn't have probably thought through that big picture. I
Mm,
would have just been mad and angry and forced through it. So I would say
yeah.
I'm just calmer. Life's more of a journey. We'll figure it out along the
Yeah.
way and it will be okay.
It will be. It's such a nice way to be. I mean, before we hit record, Kim, I was like, yeah, we're having 16 families over on the last day of school at 11 o'clock, and I have a big conference call at 10 o'clock. So we'll see how that goes, even though nothing's set up in the backyard. And that's like what would happen, at least for me 10 years ago. It's like, well, then I can't have the party. And then I'm missing out on life, you know? And it's like, I don't want to
Yes,
not have the party because everything's not perfect. Like,
that's
that
true.
sucks. That's like no way to live. It's like, come over to my imperfect house. There might be like a hunk of cheese and a carrot for you, but we're gonna have fun.
And I think that probably that's a great example because I would say that in years past, when kids come over, I would make sure everything was set up just right. I would make sure the house inside and out was clean. I'll do as much as I can,
Yeah, of
but I
course.
think that all those kids are just gonna be really happy to spend the first hours of summer together in a pool.
Right?
I think that that will be fine if they
That
can all
is
fit in the
so
pool.
great.
And I'll be okay with how it works because it's more about the people
Hmm.
being
Yeah,
together. So,
totally. Oh my God, I
mhm,
love that. Yeah. And that's, I mean, I do believe that is what this work teaches us is like, okay, food can be a part of the equation, but it doesn't have to be number one. Like, what is the point of the party in the first place? It's like connection and fun and being together, love. Like, that's really the point. And
yeah,
so often we put the food front and center when it needs to like be put in its place at like number 8 or 9 or 10 on the list. And
yeah.
we need to put ourselves at the top. Okay. So,
So it's interesting. The other day, I got on the scale and I was a pound less than my goal weight of 150. So I was at 149.1. My husband was standing there. I was so excited. And he has very much the mentality that I have had for years up until this experience. So he was so proud. He was so happy that I've done all this. And he said, isn't it just crazy how bad we were before you lost this weight? Like, just what we would eat because he's lost some weight too. And I said, oh, I very much love my previous self. Like, I love who I was. I
yes.
absolutely love who I was. And I think that any advice that I have to give myself a year ago or anyone that's listening to this is like, you are enough. And where you
Oh,
are today is where you need to be, and you'll figure it
mm,
out. Like, your life has so much ahead of you that don't be mad at anything
yeah.
that has happened in
Yeah.
the past because it was probably coping mechanisms of what the stress I'd go through in life. And I think that that's okay.
Yes, it's
I
unfolding
learned from
perfectly.
it. Yeah.
Yes,
So
that's so
I think
good.
I don't ever feel like I was terrible before. I just think I didn't have the right
Yeah,
tools.
that's
And so
exactly
I'm
right.
never going to beat myself up or think how bad I was. And he
Yeah,
was very, very impressed with my forethought on that. But it was just a really good lesson for me to
yeah.
articulate that who I was before this deserves just as much love
Mm.
as who I am today.
Oh my gosh, please take that and internalize that. That is the best advice ever. Like, it is supposed to be unfolding the way that it is unfolding. Even if you don't know, like, if you're listening right now and you don't know exactly why, that's the sucky thing. Sometimes you don't get to know why it's unfolding the way that it is. But I love emotional eating as an invitation because if you're eating because you're stressed or whatever, fill in the blank, it's like, okay, I need some stress relief or I need some comfort. It's a great invitation to be like, okay, food actually isn't solving this. So, but there is something going on. What could that be? And how can I take care of myself?
Yeah.
And so, if you can use it like Hannah did as a way to learn, it's such a gift. And yeah, I 100% agree with you. Like,
Yeah.
there's just no point in not loving your past self. Like, what's the
Yeah.
alternative? And there's not a good reason to hate your past self or to beat her up or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
Um, okay, tell us what it was like to sign up. Like, did you have
Yeah.
any hesitation? Well, it sounds like you
Oh,
just
well,
tell
okay.
us.
I did say that I didn't have hesitation, but the cost was a hesitation. It's a
Yeah,
lot
so
of money.
yeah,
It's a lot of
tell
money. I'm a financial advisor. That's a lot of money.
Ooh, this is a good one. I definitely want to hear your advice on
Um,
the ROI here. Okay, I have
yeah,
so many good questions. Now I have a lot of good questions. You don't have to do my job for me.
I was hesitant, and I think that's probably why I was listening to the podcast too.
Why would you pay for it if you could get it for free? Yeah.
And actually, now that I've paid for it, I can go back to those podcasts. And actually, you are right when you say that it's all there except for the community and the coaching that you can get when you get on the calls and the accountability.
Yeah.
And I think that those are worth every penny now that I've been through. Obviously, then I signed up for the masters with zero hesitation. It was expensive. It was a really big decision. And in my mind, I thought, you know what? I would save up for this and I would do it. And if it creates habits that change my life, which it did, and I am a better person for it, I should do it. We spend money on big ticket items to create joy, to make life amazing. And this has made my life amazing. And there were times that at the beginning this to get on the right thought process, to give up emotional eating, to give up added sugar
Hmm.
when I started at the beginning of October. There's Halloween and pumpkin pie. But to give up those things, if it were $100, I think I'd just be
Yeah.
like, meh, meh. You
Never
have to
mind.
have that because I think that that really does tie you to the program and keep you committed.
Mm.
But once I paid it, the stress that I got as the 6 months were ending, I'm pretty sure I sent you an email before and said, can I just go straight into the masters? And it was because I needed the community.
Yeah.
I wanted that connection. I wanted to be able to log in to Slack and see others working like I was working.
Yeah. So good. Okay, so can we like talk about money for a second?
Sure.
So what are your beliefs around money and like what is like the point of money? Like what is it for?
Yeah. If you don't attach a goal to your money, I don't know what it's for.
Mm.
You can
So
have so many different goals. There's
yeah.
short-term goals, there's medium-term goals, there's long-term goals, but you need to be able to attach goals to that money.
Why do you think, because I think this is true. Like sometimes I get clients that sign up and they're like, yes, I'm in. Most of my clients hesitate at the
Yep.
price. And I always say, like, even if I won, like, not that I play the lottery, but like, even if I played the lottery or somehow I made $1 billion, I would still charge everybody 5K to your point, because you have to have skin in the game. Because otherwise,
Mhm.
I mean, how many other programs have we signed up for and then not follow through? When it comes to money, I feel like our culture hasn't been trained that like coaching programs like this are worth it. We've been trained that like it's okay to spend 5K on a remodel. It's okay to spend 5K on a vacation. Like that's a reasonable amount for a vacation or two vacations, depending on where you go and how long and how many people and whatever. Or like a bathroom remodel or
Mhm.
appliances. And I'm just like, can we just even the playing field here a little bit? Because the ROI, at least for me personally, that I've gotten from coaching, it's like the best investment I've literally ever made because it affects me moment to moment, day to day, how I feel in my body and emotionally, like every single day, all day. It
Yeah.
pays off.
I think it's so important to think about it that way. So I maybe 2 years before this had just spent a lot of money getting a really big designation at work,
Oh,
a lot of money. And I pay a lot of money each year to keep that designation up to date.
what is that? Because you're a CFP? What is
Yes.
the
Yep.
designation? Okay.
Certified financial planner.
Okay.
And I didn't think twice about getting that
Hmm.
because it was for work and it was to further my career and do better for my clients.
Hmm.
So why wouldn't I do something that would help me be a better person from
Hmm.
start to finish? My whole life would be a better person if
Hmm.
I had more confidence in myself and I love myself more. So it it was helpful because I've paid for coaching, business coaching before.
Hmm.
And in all honesty, going forward, you are my business coach within the master's program. Cause I was like, why would I pay for a business coach when I get so much great information
Yeah.
to make myself a better person here? So when you talk about how I made sure that that price made sense to me, I
Hmm.
really did. It was very thoughtful in my approach of how I was going to spend this money,
I
but I
love
was
that.
spending it in coaching already and furthering my career in designations. It made sense for me
Yeah.
to do it in all aspects of my life. And I
Hmm.
would say even the suggestion is if you feel like it's too much money, then you need to put together a savings program and listen to the podcast for a couple months
Yeah.
and save up your money because it is a
Totally.
lot of money, but it's so worth it.
Yeah, it's so good. Oh, also we have payment plans, guys,
Payment
by the way.
plans. Yeah.
I don't know if Camo would recommend that because they're a little more expensive. But
Well, you also have a money back guarantee.
yeah, I also have a money back guarantee there too. All right, you guys, there's really no reason to do it. Okay, anything else that you want to tell the audience? Any other pieces of advice or big takeaways you've had? Anything else that you want to share?
I think that the master's program is an important topic to talk about just briefly because I was at the beginning when I was listening to the podcast, I'd hear about these masters coming on and talking, and it was a podcast just like we're doing right now. And I thought, well, see, they're going to get you for one more, you know,
Mm.
was what I thought. And then halfway through the experience, I realized that it was the rest of your life
Mm.
to to be surrounded by really good, high quality women,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
create a community that will help you grow. And so much further than just how to lose weight.
Yeah.
And I
Totally.
just love that. Love the whole experience. I love the cheerleaders and the experience. I love
Mm.
the communication we get.
Mm.
I often think to myself when people are commenting and the cheerleaders are commenting, I'm like, they are so sweet. They are just so good. I am just so impressed. I just love that Laura is commenting on this. And it's just so sweet to see
Yeah.
so much of your team show
Mm.
up in a way that is far more than work. They are showing up because they are personally invested in those that are a part of the experience. And that really set the tone for this is different than anything else.
It really is. It really I mean, that's so cheesy, but it really becomes like a sisterhood. And I mean, the Yummy Mummy Masters genuinely was born out of my clients being like, please, will you make something that we can have? I was like, yes, I can. I sure will.
Yeah.
Because what I was doing before is I was like, well, if you want to do more, you could just do another round. And they were like, no, we're ready for the next level. And I do have Yum Mama Lum that, lovingly decide that they are complete with the experience and move on. And that's totally fine. Like, whatever you want. But the masters, by the way, is lifetime access. So you're in there for as long as I live, or for a long time. Who knows how long? I don't know. I'm going to switch. I think I might switch in a couple of years to the Delicious Daddy, or how about Ditch the Dad Bod? Do you like that name? I really like Ditch the
That's
Dad
good.
Bod.
That is so good. Yeah. I told
So,
someone I was part of the Yummy Mummy experience, and they said, "The what?"
yeah.
Trust the process.
Yeah.
Trust the process.
Just be quiet and hand over 5K. It's fine. I know. I've had people that are like, quote unquote, in branding, and they're like, yeah, we're going to need to talk about that. And I'm like, yeah, no, we're not going to talk about that. Like, I love my brand. And just in case you guys were wondering, it's supposed to be silly and fun and like kind of cheeky on purpose, because it's representative of the brand. It's representative of the method and the experience, because it has to be, to Kama's point, it has to be fun and enjoyable. If we really are doing this forever, if we're doing this for the last time, has to be, fun and serious, meaningful and silly. So
I am a serious person. I am very methodical. I am very black and white. And I did join going, oh my, this lot. But let me tell you, I am now thinking about so much more of who I am,
mm,
about the feminine energy, about
mm,
letting things come to you, about being calmer, about not always the grind of corporate, which is what I've
mm,
always been. And I still love that. Don't get
yeah.
me wrong. But I have a totally different lens in which I look through things
Mm,
than when I did look through things a year ago. And it's for the better,
yeah.
which I think is
Yeah.
always good to be able to look at things differently throughout life. It just helps you grow.
Yeah.
So I think having that lens of just a different thought process
Oh,
is so important.
it's so true. I am totally like a recovering perfectionist and like black and whiter. Maybe not, I wasn't like super diehard perfectionistic, but very, very black and white. Like no gray, no gray scale hopping at all. And it's actually just a nicer way to live.
Yeah.
It's not so right or wrong. Kama, this was so fun. I can't believe you describe yourself as serious, because she's like, you're a breath of fresh air and like a ray of sunshine, and she's all smiles. So that's interesting. Anyways, you guys, I want you to go to lauraconley.com/lose, LOSE, not LOOSE. lauraconley.com/lose if you'd like to book a consult call and see about working together to lose weight for the last time. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I hope you have the best week ever. Ciao, ciao.